That must be their son because he looks like one of them.
Julie, it's 7 o'clock.
What's that?
Oh, there's Ross Leach.
Isabel.
Well, it's 4 o'clock.
Oh my God, it's telling me it's time to start. We're getting there.
We're going to be starting in just a moment. We're going to give everyone a couple of seconds to log in.
All right, she's
Most of us are.
Hi, David and Donna.
Hello,
Who's that?
Arlene.
Arlene, hi.
How are you doing?
Hi.
Oh, God, it's so nice to see everybody, such old friends. Yep, it's Janice.
Hello.
Hi, Janice.
I haven't seen you in years.
I know, ages.
Many.
Janice, how are you?
Donna White, you gotta say
I'm
hello.
good, I'm good. I just had rotator cuff
Hi,
surgery,
Muriel.
so I'm recuperating, but I'm good.
What you doing?
You know, it's so great. I remember Jacob's bar mitzvah, so this is full cycle.
That was a long time ago. Adam's
I'm
wedding.
so glad.
How come I'm not showing?
I'm just letting everyone know that we're about to get started. I'm so glad we have opportunities to catch up with one another. And at the end of the service, we can hang around and do just that as long as people would like. Right now, I'm going to mute everyone just so we'll be able to hear as well as possible. And I'd love to just welcome you to this service as the cantor begins with a beautiful Nagun. So we do not often have the opportunity to join together on a Saturday afternoon to offer words of prayers and to be present with one another. And I am just so glad that all of us are here. And it just so happens that you decided to come on a really, really good day because it happens to be Sadie Lieb's bat mitzvah. And we are so incredibly excited to celebrate with her. I know I see all of these different congratulations in the chat, and certainly we have a really beautiful service in store with Sadie leading it. But as we begin this service, I'd like us to spotlight on the Lieb house as Estelle gives the talit that is so meaningful and such a big part of our tradition to Sadie.
Oh, Sadie, there's so much I want to say to you.
Hold
I would
on.
try to keep it short. First of all, I know that your papa is smiling down at you, and he has one of those really silly grins that goes from ear to ear because he's so excited and happy for you. And his presence, I know, will be felt in many ways today. I'm only a little bit sorry that we're not on the bima that was his bima for so many years. And you don't even remember him because you were just not quite 7 months old when he passed away. But even with all your papers that you laid out here a few minutes ago, and you have your pledge, and I said, you know who wrote that pledge? That was your papa that wrote that pledge many years ago when kids used to drop out after bar bat mitzvah. He made sure that that didn't happen. And I want to talk to you a little bit about your talit, which I'm going to show people is embroidered with a lot of pomegranates. And I know you know the meaning of that, because I asked you when I got this quite a few months ago, Do you know what the symbolism is of the pomegranate? And without a moment's hesitation, you said 613. And I was just amazed that you knew that, but I'm going to explain it for just a minute because I think there's a lot of our friends and maybe even family who don't know what that means. The Torah, which is lying right here, has 613 commandments or mitzvot in it. And legend has it that pomegranates have 613 seeds in them. So pomegranates represent all of the Torah. It's just a symbol, and it's often used to decorate the Torah. Often the filials are made in the shape of pomegranates, and other decorations are used that way. So I am very happy to present this tallit to you, and I hope you will wear it often and with great pride and remember this day. And now you're going to say the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen.
Mazel tov.
Is also of Sadie, and that looks so beautiful on you, just like it's meant to be. I know there is a little bit of sadness that we're feeling today, that we're not in our sacred home right now, but when we had the option to postpone this bat mitzvah or to keep it on this date, it was just so important to be able to keep tradition, to be able to celebrate this moment in your life, Sadie, that you wanted to do it this way. And I am so proud of you for that. And indeed, tonight we're going to be able to uplift ourselves and one another by celebrating the tradition of your grandpa and of our wonderful congregation. So let us join together in the words of Hine Matov, how great it is for all of us to join together. Sadie, take it away.
Ashrei Yoshe V'techa, Adeh Hallelu Selah. Ashrei Yoshe V'techa, Adeh Hallelu Selah. Ashrei, Ashrei, Ashrei Yoshe V'techa. Happy are those who dwell in your house, they will sing your praises forever. Happy are those who dwell in your house, they will sing your praises forever. Ashrei Yoshevetecha, Adeh Hallelu Selah. Ashrei Yoshevetecha, Adeh Hallelu Selah.
There are many people in Sadie's family who are going to be honored as part of the service, because we know that this day is a day that means a lot to the Lieb family, and it means a lot to so many of us who are here. So I want to ask for Aunt Nancy Brown to lead us in this reading.
Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways.
Adonai, Sefatati Ta'u, Viyaki Tehilatecha. Adonai, Sefatati Ta'u, Viyaki Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel. El Hagadol, Hagibor Ha'anura, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Haserot Ve'imaot, Unevi Elah Livnei B'neihem, Aman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, V'Yiracham, V'Tzara. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mehayei Hakol Atara V'Hoshia, Morid Hatah, Mehayel Hayim B'Chesed, Mehayei Hakol B'Rachamim Ramim, Somech Noflim V'Rofeh Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umechayei Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Mihamo Habal Geberot, Midonel, Melech Memit, Umechayei, Umatziach Yeshua, Me'eman Atal Ha'ayot Hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei Hakol. Your might, O God, is everlasting. Help us to use our strength for good and not evil. You are the source of life and blessing. Help us to choose life for ourselves and our children. You are the support of the fallen. Help us to lift the fallen. You are the author of freedom. Help us to free the captive. You are our hope in death as in life. Help us to keep faith with those who sleep in the dust. Your might, O God, is everlasting. Help us to use our strength for good, for blessing and not for curse, for life and not death, for abundance and not want.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו, אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, אדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד עוד לך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד עוד לך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך, קדושתך נקדיש, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך, קדושתך נקדיש, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד טוב לך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד טוב לך, בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא יבוש, לעולם, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, וגם ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Oh, say shalom bimromav, uya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimru, ve'yimru, amen.
So there is a tradition at Temple Beth El that every bat mitzvah has the opportunity to ask a burning question, something that they want to ask. It could be anything at all, though Jewish questions are often preferred. But Sadie came to me with a question. And her question for me was, not surprisingly, a really challenging one. She asked, if we believe that everything in the world happens because of God, then why should we believe in God after events like the Holocaust? This question, Sadie, is as deep as you are. It is a question of struggle and a question of conscience. It's a question of a young mind trying to make sense of a broken world. It is perhaps a question that all of us must grapple with. In the Holocaust aftermath, Rabbi and academic Rabbi Richard Rubinstein wrestled with this question in his controversial book After Auschwitz. In it, he explained that he couldn't fathom how to believe in God in light of the destruction, violence, and evil that our people lived through. He was simply unable to make sense of his faith. Doubt and questioning are inherent parts of our tradition. After surviving the Holocaust, Elie Wiesel understandably struggled with his faith as well. He asked if perhaps God had died in the concentration camps. Wiesel had wrestled with his faith just as Jacob wrestled with God long ago. He questioned, he doubted, but in the end, he counts himself as an observant believer. In a 2005 interview, Elie Wiesel was asked why and how he continues to believe. He answered, "I cannot not believe. Not because of myself, but because of those who were before me. It is my love for and fidelity to my parents, my grandparents, and theirs. And simply to stop, to be last in the chain is wrong. It would humiliate them. They weren't at fault. Why should I do it? I feel such a presence when I think about them, and even when I don't think about them, I want to follow in their footsteps. I don't want to break the chain," he said. And to choose what? Is it better to be agnostic or better to be atheist? I don't know. I never tried it. I accepted having faith. I called it wounded faith. My faith is wounded, but I believe. A very great Hasidic master once said, "No heart is as whole as a broken heart." And I paraphrase it differently, he explained. No faith is as pure as a wounded faith because it is faith with an open eye. I know all the elements of the situation. I know all the reasons why I shouldn't have faith. It's a choice, and I choose faith. Emil Fackenheim is another person who held on to his faith and perhaps even deepened it in the aftermath of the Holocaust. He was going to believe because, in his words, rejecting God because of the Holocaust was like giving in to Hitler, giving him a posthumous victory. He proclaimed that there should be a 614th commandment for Jews to actively work for their survival and their faith. Terrible things happened in the Holocaust, evil, violence, but perhaps even if everything stems from God, everything is not God's fault. Perhaps God is not the cause of evil or suffering, but instead God is there with us to help us through. These are the theological thoughts of Harold Kushner, who had all too much experience with heartache of his own. If God gives human beings free will, then there are times when people will do horrible, unthinkable things to one another, and there will also be times where people uplift and help one another in truly inspiring and life-changing ways. The question about Auschwitz is not where was God, but where was man, asked Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. Human beings created this destruction and violence and hatred. The only way to get through such times of hardship is to reach out to God and to live up to our highest sense of morality. So why believe in God in the aftermath of the Holocaust? Because faith does not necessitate perfection. We can be angry with God for the devastation of the Holocaust and for other terrible things in history. Perhaps we even have an obligation to do so. But when we blame God, we stop holding ourselves accountable for what we can do. I believe that there is an even bigger calling at work, one that is intertwined with our very mission as Jews and as human beings. We live in a broken and imperfect world, a world that needs us to work to fix it. We are God's partners in overcoming evil, hatred, and oppression. God needs us as much as we need her. I hope that answers at least part of your question, although I think that question is probably one that doesn't have a full and satisfactory answer. It's one that we continue to wrestle with, and I look forward to also learning from you, Sadie, as you continue to wrestle with it and find your own answer. But right now, we are about to turn to our Torah service in which our Torah will be passed down to you, Sadie. You'll be able to read from it and teach us a little bit of your wisdom. As we start this service, we go back to sharing the screen as Aunt Cecile and Uncle David Desmond lead us in this reading.
When Torah entered the world, freedom entered it. The whole Torah exists only to establish peace. Its highest teaching is love and kindness. What is hateful to you, do not do to any person. That is the whole Torah. All the rest is commentary. Go and learn it.
Those who study Torah are the true guardians of civilization, honoring one another, doing acts of kindness, and making peace. These are our highest duties. But the study of Torah is equal to them all because it leads to them all. Let us learn in order to teach. Let us learn in order to do.
So Sadie, you are about to teach us from this beautiful Torah scroll that is sitting there with you in your home. And it seems so appropriate that this scroll be in your home because I know how precious this Torah scroll was to your papa and how important it was to him that we preserve its sanctity and that we utilize it. Not just having it as a museum piece, as many synagogues do, because this Torah scroll that was rescued from České Budějovice in Czechoslovakia is one of 1,653 scrolls that were rescued after the Holocaust. One of 1,653 scrolls that Hitler collected in a warehouse so that someday he could create a museum of the people who no longer existed. You stand here today as a testament to the fact that not only do we exist, but we survive and we thrive. And so as you become Bat Mitzvah today, just as many generations of B'nai Mitzvah now at Temple Bethel have done, you will read from this scroll, taking your place in the long line, in the line of your parents, in the line of your sister, in the line of your papa, knowing that you stand here today because we Jews are here and survive, and we memorialize and remember those who perished so that we could be here today. So with that, I believe we're going to invite you to share your Bat Mitzvah pledge. So if you will unmute and share that, Sadie, that would be fantastic.
I am about to receive the gift of Torah and share in the sacred responsibility of teaching Torah to others. I am able to do this because I have studied and I have made a commitment to the value of learning. In order for me to grow as a Jew and to share with others the blessings I have received, I accept the responsibility to continue with my Jewish education through confirmation and perhaps even beyond. As a Bat Mitzvah, I am responsible for the mitzvah of learning, and I will fulfill that mitzvah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'asok b'divrei Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam hamlamed Torah la'am ha-Yisrael.
Beautifully said. And there is no doubt that your grandpa would be so proud of you. Right now, we prepare for the Torah to be handed down generation to generation, and we feel his presence. We feel the presence of all of your ancestors, and we also feel the presence of everyone who is here with the words of blessing that they will offer. And so your grandpa, Terry, has these words for you.
Whoops.
Hey, Sadie. First of all, congratulations from Grammy and Grampy on your Bat Mitzvah. It's an important milestone in your life. Now do yourself a favor and tuck away a special prayer in your mind for when you encounter difficulties, hardships, and other obstacles during your life. When you do, pull that little prayer to God out and say it. He will help you if you allow him to. I have one that I use in different times, different situations. It begins with, Hail Mary, full of grace. I know that is one that you probably won't use. But there is for sure a Jewish prayer that God will listen to and help you through those difficult times in your life that you will experience. Again, congratulations, granddaughter, Grammy and Grampy. We love you always.
And passing down through the generations, Jacob and Julie invite you to say a blessing as parents.
So, Sadie, as you receive Torah and become an adult in the eyes of your faith, we wanted to talk seriously about something that we always joke about. You're the baby. You've always been the baby. You like being the baby, and we like it too. Lately, we've even been telling you that you're not allowed to grow up. And we wanted to share a little secret with you in front of all these people who love you. We see you growing up. We see it every day, and we're okay with it. For one thing, you're not so shrimpy anymore. We've actually seen for a long time how organized and responsible you are. You're that way with your schoolwork. You are that way with helping around the house. And you've particularly shown it in how you've prepared for today. We have also seen how you figured out, whether it's your schoolwork or sports or anything that you do, that you figured out that hard work and determination pay off. Some of us were a lot older before we figured that out. And you're about to deliver your Devar Torah, which has us wondering when you got to be so wise. And while we're really proud of you, and we've decided that we're okay with this idea of you growing up, we need to be clear about something. You think about your cousins, and think about your big sister, who've done this before. The time between becoming a Jewish adult today and being a full-fledged grown-up goes by in the blink of an eye. And you have always had, really, among anyone we know, the greatest capacity for joy and wonder. It doesn't really matter if it's, well, let me tell a quick story. When we had your first ever parent-teacher conference, you're about 18 months old, which seems a little silly for having a parent-teacher conference with teacher Jose, who a lot of folks out there know. He said, Sadie has a smile that says, I can get away with anything. And it turns out that he was half right. You really just have the nicest smile. And it doesn't matter if it's a big thing like traveling to see your family, or if it's a tiny little thing like getting a new pair of socks. You get so excited sometimes that you can hardly contain yourself.
Sadie, I wasn't very organized about keeping a baby book, and I did start one. When I pulled it out recently, I was struck by the fact that one of the only entries I had written was about a night when you were about 3 months old. It was Thanksgiving, and I was laying you down in your crib, and I thought you were totally fast asleep. And as soon as you got into the crib, your eyes just popped open, and I thought, oh, here we go. And but we were busy, we were getting ready for Thanksgiving, so I kind of tiptoed away, and I went back to check on you a couple of times, and every time I checked on you, you were lying there in the dark, talking and smiling and laughing to yourself. And I wrote in the baby book that I don't know if there's any other baby that laughs themselves to sleep. And that struck me because when I read what Daddy wrote, which was so perfect and which was basically what I had in my head, I realized that was the thing that we still both see in you, is this gift of just contentment and happiness and capacity for joy. And so what we wish for you is that while you continue to grow in responsibility and maturity and wisdom and understanding of your place in the world, that you never lose touch with the child who is filled with joy.
We love you.
We love you.
And with those words from generation to generation, we pass this Torah to you, Sadie, and you receive it. Yes.
Kim Tzion titze Torah, Ozvar Adonai v'Yerushalayim. Kim Tzion titze Torah, Ozvar Adonai v'Yerushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo, Torah le'amo Yisrael. Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael. B'kedushat Tzion titze Torah, Ozvar Adonai v'Yerushalayim. B'Tzion titze Torah, Ozvar Adonai v'Yerushalayim.
And for the first Aliyah, we call up Grandma Estelle Lieb and your sister Maxine Lieb. Ta'amodna Miriam bat Aaron v'Hana v'Yohana bat Yaakov v'Yuli v'Aliyah Rishona. Can you unmute, Lieb House?
Yeah.
Baruch Adonai Haborah.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Haborah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Amen.
Vayadata ki v'betzivkadha Adonai Elohecha noten l'chad et ha'aretz ha'tova hazot l'rishta ki am kesher orev ata zehor al tishka et asher hiksavta et Adonai Elohecha b'midbar lemin hayom asher yatzata me'eretz Mitzrayim ad bahem ad hamakom hazeh mamrim heitem im Adonai uforav hiksavtem et Adonai Vaytanach Adonai Bahem Lachashmid ethem Ba'alati hahara Vakachat Luchat ha'abanim Luchat habrit Asher karat Adonai imachem Ba'eshev Mahar Arba'im yam Arba'im Laila Ba'achem Ba'achoti umayim lo shatiti, vayten Adonai, Elai, et shenei luchot habanim ketuvim, ba'etzva Elohim, ba'aleichem, kechol hadvarim, asher giber, Adonai imachem b'char, mitoch ha'esh, vayom hakahal.
Nice job.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. And you can stay right there as I call up our second Aliyah, which is cousin Leah Noble, cousin Alana Noble, Aunt Amy Noble, Uncle Adam Lieb, and Aunt Rebecca Wasserman Lieb, which is going to be shared. Great. So Yam tu Rivka bat Shade v'Simcha u'Mikaya bat Shade v'Simcha Chaviva bat David v'Miriam v'Adam ben David v'Miriam v'Shoshana bat Miriam v'Hillel ali Hashniha.
Baruch Adonai, Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Vayehi miked arba'im yom va'arba'im laila noten Adonai Elai et shenei luchot habanim luchot habrit Vayomer Adonai Elai kum mered maher mizeh ki shiched amarcha Asher Hatzaita Minitzrayim Saru Maher Min Haderech Asher Tzivitzim Asu Lachem Masecha Vayomer Adonai Elai Lemor Ra'idi Atam Hazeh V'hinei Yom Kesher Oref Hu Herev Mimemi Ba'ash Midem ואמחי את שמם מתחת השמיים ועשר אתה לגוי עצום ורב ממני.
For our third Aliyah, we call up Jacob and Julie. Yam tu Yaakov ben David v'Miriam v'Yuli bat Heri v'Linza la'Aliyah Shlushishit.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Vayered.
Min hahar v'hahar Kishnei Ladana Luhot Habrit Al Shatei Yadai Ba'eret Vehine Chatatem Ladonai Eloheihem Asitem Lachem Egel Masecha Sartem Maher Min Haderech Asher Siva Adonai Etem Va'et Pros Kishnei Aluchot Va'ashlichem Ma'al Shetei Yadai Va'asher Beim Le'ineihem Va'et Napal.
Yep, stop. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
And there is a reason that parents do the second to last aliyah, and that's so that they can be standing right next to you, Sadie, as you are called to the Torah for the very first time. Ta'amo et Sarah bat Yaakov et Julie l'aliyah revit.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvara.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai
noten haTorah.
Amen.
Va'et napal livnei Adonai karishana arba'im yom v'arba'im laila lechem lo ahalti umayim lo shatiti al kol chatatem asher atatem va'asar tara b'einei Adonai lahahiso ki agorti mipnei cha'et v'hahema asher katsa Adonai alechem Ahashmid etem v'yishma Adonai Elai gam b'pa'am hahu Uvaharon Yitanach Adonai Ma'od lahashmido Ba'et palel Gam be'ad Aharon Ba'et hahi Ba'et hatatem Asher asitem ata egel Lakachti Ba'eshrok Oto ba'esh Lekot Ahot Sahan Heitem Ad Asher Dam La'afar Ba'ashli et Afaran El Hanahal Hayared Min Hahar Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. You should
Amen. So, Sadie, if there is a moment during a bat mitzvah ceremony where you become a bat mitzvah, it is the moment that we have just witnessed. This moment of being called to Torah, of reading Torah so beautifully. That was a lot of Torah to read, and you did such a beautiful job. And there is tradition to offer a blessing, a Mishaberach blessing, for this special occasion. So I offer this blessing to you. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivcha, Rachel, v'Leah, Hayavarach, et Sarah, bat Yaakov, v'Julie, v'hagia l'mitzvot, v'alta l'chavod hamakom, v'lichvod haTorah. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessings to you, Sadie. For you have reached the age of responsibility and have been called to Torah for the very first time. We celebrate the dedication that brought you to this sacred moment today. May God watch over you. May your parents continue to raise you to full adulthood, leading you to a life filled with blessing of Torah, of Jewish learning, of chuppah, the joy of loving relationship, and of masim tovim, good deeds. May you find favor before God and the entire Jewish community, and together let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
Are you doing a Haggadah?
And now we lift up the Torah for all to see.
Eventually.
Very big, heavy Torah.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. וזאת התורה, וזאת התורה, וזאת התורה אשר שם משה, וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל, לפני בני ישראל. וזאת התורה, 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 וזאת התורה.
Yasher Koach, beautiful job. I know that wasn't easy, Jacob.
No problem.
And now we all have the pleasure of listening to Sadie as she offers some words of Torah of her speech.
In my Torah portion, Parashat Akev, we learn about the various wrongs that the Israelites have committed as a people. In this Torah portion, in Deuteronomy, Moses talks throughout the whole portion about everything that the Israelites should know in the Promised Land, since he will not be allowed to enter however they will. Moses says, "It is not for any virtue of yours that the eternal your God is giving you this land to possess." He describes how they were selfish, stiff-necked people while he was on Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights, collecting the 2 tablets of stone inscribed by the finger of God. The Israelites busied themselves creating a new god, the golden calf. The people of Israel have not had a perfect past, however, God is willing to give them a chance at the Promised Land anyway. When Moses calls the Israelites a stiff-necked people, he means that they are stubborn, obstinate, or impractical. Moses knows that the Israelites have many faults, however, it is possible that Moses is recognizing the Israelites' strength when he calls them a stiff-necked people. Stiff-necked can also mean loyal, devoted, consistent, and true. Some of Israel's downfalls are also their greatest traits. If they weren't stubborn and consistent, they would never be able to survive in the desert for 40 years. And if they weren't loyal and true, they would never have lived through slavery. Being stiff-necked means being able to push through even their worst moments, but they had a dream to get to the Promised Land. And even though they were going through hard times, they were willing to live in the desert for 40 years to make that dream come true. So when Moses calls them a stiff-necked people, maybe he wasn't just pointing out their faults. Maybe he was showing how strong and resilient they were in those hard times. And so are we. We are going to be resilient and strong like the Israelites, even if we're going through troubling times. So maybe we are still stiff-necked people, but if these last couple of months have taught us anything, it's that we are a lot of things. We have learned even today that we have to keep being resilient to go through what's happening in the world today. Maybe that gives us a chance, so that just like them, we can bounce back up. When we get hit hard, we come back stronger. We are pushing through because there are so many things that we want. I am being stiff-necked by staying home, and even though I want to see my friends, I'm staying home so that I can see them later. I'm also being resilient so that I can go back to school and do my normal sports and activities. Moses knew that the Israelites have the strength to decide whether they want to build a more promising future or hold on to a bad past. It can be a blessing when we move forward to a future where we can all build together a place where we can strive. But it can be a curse when we relive the past like the Israelites did with the golden calf. So we have to decide, are we going to keep living in the past or are we going to march forward and build a better future? because we can. So stay home now so that later we can stand up to our future as a community.
Yishar koach. Simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, yehelanu, 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 ulechol Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael.
Sadie, the words that you just spoke had such wisdom in them and such optimism. The words that your parents spoke a little while ago about you being able to see the good comes out in your Torah portion, because when you focused on this portion, you chose a line that perhaps was meant as an insult for Moses, and in it, you saw words of uplift. You saw words of blessing, because that is who you are. Someone who is able to find the good, someone who is able to find the blessings in even the most challenging of circumstances. It is my prayer for you, Sadie, that you never stop being the optimistic person who you are. You are an incredible leader, and I have no doubt that so much of your grandfather lives in you. I didn't know your grandfather. I didn't have that privilege, but just hearing about him and listening to your words and having the privilege of working with you over these past few months, you truly are a born leader and teacher. And I hope that you truly will keep on learning, keep being a part of that. May you never stop questioning. May you never stop being part of this beautiful tradition of which you add so much. And so I'd like to offer you the words of the Priestly Benediction, which are said on special occasions, from baby namings to weddings and also bat mitzvahs, and can be said truly any Shabbat. Yevarchech Adonai v'yishmerech, Yer Adonai panav alayich v'chonayich, Yisa Adonai panav alayich v'yasem lach shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. May you feel God's presence with you always, and may you find peace.
Amen. You can sit down, Sadie. It's okay. So, Sadie, I have a tradition of offering a song of blessing to each one of our B'nai Mitzvah. And I fear I should have probably checked with your parents to find out what the song of blessing was at Maxine's bat mitzvah, because I don't keep records of that. But I fear that I may end up giving you the same blessing right now, but that's okay. Because even though it might be the same words, it is to two very different individuals. Two great individuals who both embody so much of what your family history is. Sadie, I remember several years ago when your Aunt Amy was visiting and your cousin Leah was visiting, and your dad and your grandma Estelle and I were walking on the beach, and your dad and I kind of lagged back a little bit, and he turned to me and he said, I have to ask you a question. I've got an important question for you, but you can't tell my mother I'm asking you this. And I said, sure, what is it? And he said, I can't imagine my kids becoming bat mitzvah on any other bima than at Temple Bethel. Is there a way that we can make that happen? And my immediate reaction was, of course we will. And then I said, now let's figure out how. And through a lot of commitment and a lot of hard work, your parents have made sure that you've been able to be educated at Temple Bethel, even though you lived at quite a distance. And through technology, we were able to continue that education even during the week. And really, you were the pioneer of exactly what we're all experiencing right here. It's actually so appropriate that we should be having a Zoom bat mitzvah for you, because you were the first Zoom Torah school student on Thursday afternoons. You were the pioneer. You have been coming to Temple Bethel your entire life. And I pray that you will continue to come to Temple Bethel for the rest of your life. And I am so blessed and so honored to be a part of your family and to be able to offer you this blessing here today, that from generation to generation, we should know the blessings that your papa started at Temple Bethel, and that you will now continue, we pray, at Temple Bethel in your lifetime. We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Ledor vador nagid golecha, ledor vador you'll protect this chain from generation to generation. Ledor vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are gifts and we are holy. We are children of your way. And these words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. Ledor vador navi golecha, ledor vador we protect this chain from generation to generation. Ledor vador, your lips will praise God's name. I pray that from generation to generation, Sadie, you never forget this house of God, and that you fill it with many more generations to come. Mazal tov.
Sadie, Mazel Tov. I'm Donnie Paquin, VP of Education here on behalf of the Board of Directors. What an absolutely fantastic and thoughtful service you led us through with such grace, maturity, and optimism. We are honored to have you as an incredibly valuable part of our TBE community and the community at large. It's my honor to present you with this currently virtual certificate. There you are. Take that in for a moment, as I just lost everything else I was going to say, except that I can do it anyway. We are so proud of you, and it was an absolutely beautiful job. thank you for being our Zoom hero and for having us all be a part of this beautiful day. As well as along with the certificate, we're also presenting you with your own set of High Holidays prayer books. We are so proud of you. Yasher Koach and Mazel Tov.
Thank you so much, Donnie, for speaking on behalf of the board. And I want to invite Dina Dreisler to say a few words on behalf of Sisterhood.
Here I am. Hello, Sadie. Hope you can hear me. I also want to say thank you for so beautifully chanting Torah for us and interpreting it in such a beautiful way and bringing in our current circumstances and applying it so that we understand what we're going through, gets reapplied, and we can learn from that. I also want to tell you that I grew up at Temple Beth El, and your grandpa, Rabbi Lieb, when I became a bat mitzvah, was the rabbi when I was on the bima, becoming bat mitzvah. And then I have 4 daughters, but when my oldest daughter, Lindsay, became bat mitzvah, your grandpa was also the rabbi who, and of course the cantor was there too, but officiated for her to become bat mitzvah. So in our family, it's been generations of us with your grandpa. And on behalf of the sisterhood, we want to welcome you into the young adult community of Temple Beth El and present you virtually with a Kiddush cup that I think will be presented actually in the future, and just say Mazel Tov on you becoming a bat mitzvah. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Dina. And we have also Barry Gross, who is going to say a few words on behalf of the Mensch Club.
Congratulations, Sadie, on your special day from the newly forming Mensch Club. I absolutely realize how hard you have worked for this day, and it's my honor to recognize your accomplishments. It is our pleasure to recognize you and your loving and beautiful family by presenting you with beautiful Shabbat candles that we will get you in a very short time. Again, congratulations, and the Mensch Club joins with your family and the TBE family as we all say how proud we are of you and the love and admiration we have for your entire family. Mazel tov.
Thank you so much, Barry. And you are the first, because the Mensch Club recently formed. So you're the first person to get this honor, at least in a very long time, from the Mensch Club. And we are so, so grateful for all the work that people are putting into this phenomenal group of men who are coming together. And finally, certainly, last but certainly not least, I'd like to invite Maxine to offer a few words to her sister on behalf of Speedy.
All right, hi. I'm Maxine. I'm Sadie's sister, if you didn't know. Well, now you know. I am also the financial vice president of Speedy. And I don't have it on my person right now, but you will get it eventually. We have a very special charm for you for when you hopefully join Speedy, which is a part of NIFTY, the North American Federation of Temple Youth. And many NIFTYites, when they go to NIFTY events, have a necklace that they get little beads, and we have a charm for you. I really hope that you'll join Speedy and come to all of the NIFTY events, super fun. So consider this our official invitation to the highly elite and exclusive club that is Speedy. We really only take the best, and you're the best.
Thanks to everyone.
That's beautiful. And so, Sadie, I know that you have a few words that you want to say now that you've gotten these congratulations from so many people in the community.
First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone who came here to support me today, and the following for their support, gifts, and tremendous help. Thank you to Temple Bethel Sisterhood for the Kiddush Cup, the Board of Directors for the Bat Mitzvah Certificate and the High Holy Days Prayer Book, the North American Federation of Temple Youth for the $250 gift certificate for a trip to Israel after my confirmation year, and the Los Angeles Jewish Federation for the book Israel Matters, also the Mensch Club for the Shabbat candles, and Speedy for the charm. Most importantly, I would like to thank Rabbi Kale and Cantor Davidson and Raheli 1,000,000 times. All of them helped me so much to prepare for this special day. Rabbi Kale helped me with my Devar Torah and answered my burning question, and Cantor Davidson helped me learn my Torah portion and all the prayers. My whole family for their continued support, those who are Zooming from near and far, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we are all just so proud of you. We are going to turn to one final prayer in our Shabbat part of this service, which is a prayer of memory. And this particular Shabbat, we are thinking about people who have died in recent days and people who have died long ago. People who died from COVID, people who die on our city streets. And we are also most assuredly thinking about family members who are looking down on you, Sadie, including, of course, your papa, Rabbi David Lieb. So let's join together in the Mourner's Kaddish in their memory. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'almad zivrach cherotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uvyomachon, uv'chayed kol beit Yisrael, ba'galau v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam olamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shemei dekudisha b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiram ve'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim alinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, alinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
This Havdalah service is a service that holds the last little remnants of this beautiful Shabbat day. And it is a service of transition of you, Sadie, from being a learner to being a teacher. And now we transition as well, hoping to take the joy of this day and the beauty of this day with us as we begin a new week. So the first thing that we do in a Havdalah service, and if you happen to have a Havdalah set handy and Havdalah candles, the very first thing that we do is light our twisted candle, again bringing some beautiful radiance, just as you did, Lieb family, last night when you lit our Shabbat candles. So we have our Havdalah candle all ready to go as we say our blessing over the grape juice or the wine. Ya la 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 ya la 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 Ya la 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 la. The next blessing is that of the spices. We take in their beautiful aroma, reminding us of just how glorious, just how fragrant this Shabbat day has been. Ya la 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 Baruch Eloheinu melech borei And now we turn to our third blessing, our blessing over the candle itself. Ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei v'heish borei v'heish ya la 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 We allow that light of the candle to reflect in our fingernails, taking some of the light of this Shabbat day with us as we prepare to begin a new week. And we move into our final blessing of Havdalah, our blessing of transition. Right after this blessing, we will take the candle and extinguish it in our wine, formally marking this moment of separation. Ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol hamavdil ben kodesh lechol ya la 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 la
Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol chatoteinu yimchol dareinu v'chaspeinu yar bekachol ve'al kochavim balayla.
It's beautiful.
Shavua Tov, everyone.
Shavua Tov, but the celebration part is not over yet because Uncle Adam Lieb created a very special slideshow that we are going to share with you right now.
Mazel Tov.
Yeah, so sorry that the
Was
sound
there
didn't
sound?
play. There was no sound for half a second. We can always play it again later if you want to hear it with the sound, but it was so beautiful. Thank you so much to Adam for creating that beautiful video of Sadie. And finally, there is just one last thing we're going to do. Because we might be about to share meals and food with one another, we can hang around and we can talk. But I know that Arlene and Sydney Sachs, Marilyn and Roger Price, along with their children and sons and daughters-in-law, are ready right now to lead us in motzi over whatever food we are about to eat.
In the fridge. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lecha min haaretz b'nei avon. And Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov, everyone.
Keep her on the room.
Mazel Tov, Sadie, and to your families.
Mazal Tov. And everyone is welcome to just stay around and chat and enjoy some food together and wish Mazel Tov to everything that Sadie has done.
And we're happy to share the video again if you'd like. Just let me know when.
Mazel tov, Sadie.
Mazel Tov, Sadie. I didn't cry.
Yeah, Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov! Mazel Tov! This is like coming full cycle. Jacob, I remember your bar mitzvah. It was significant.
Mazel Tov, Sadie.
You guys can come to the pool again.
Julie and Maxine.
I'm gonna see fireworks again. We always did that when you guys were little.
Right there.
Frankie, oh my God. Frankie, Bunky, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Right.
Come visit us.
Happy birthday, Donna.
Donna White, where are you?
We're here. We're in Oregon.
You're in Oregon. That's good.
You're safe, girl.
You're safe.
Happy birthday, Donna White.
Bye. I gotta leave.
Thank you.
Birthday tomorrow.
Hi, Marilyn, wherever you are.
Okay.
Hi, Rob.
Grandma, what were you saying?
Good morning, Grandma. I just tried to move everything over.
Oh, hi, Dina.
Hi, Arthur.
It's been a very long time. Hi, Elon.
Bye, everybody.
Marilyn, hi. David to stand up. Hi, Maury. Hi, Sharon. Hello. Hello from Oregon.
Elon, where's Jody?
Sadie.
She's here.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Jody. You're everywhere.
Hello.
Oregon.
I unmuted. And I
Hello.
have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, I can't.
Congratulations, Sadie.
Thank you.
Estelle, Sadie, congratulations to the Lieb family, to all of you.
We love being part of this. And I love the pictures, even though some of them she probably didn't like.
Congratulations to the Lieb family. It was wonderful. We enjoyed it.
Hi, Amy.
Lieb family.
Hi, Jen.